Hello, hello, it's me, Janette. How are you? Hope you've been well. Hope all is well in the world, in your corner of the world. Subscribe. Sorry, that makes me happy for some reason. In today's video, I'm working on a spring themed layout. So I've decided that this is my spring themed journal. It doesn't have anything that particularly screams springtime, but it is the most spring-like thing, like notebook that I had in my stash from some that I made myself. So I went with this one. And I wanted to put the sticky note down first thing because I had it in my stash and I wanted this little yellow sticky note to kind of set the tone, set the whole mood for this layout. It's also really funny that the sentiment on the sticky note says start somewhere. Like I literally started with that start somewhere sticky note. It just made sense. So I'm incorporating some doilies that I had in my stash that I felt like I've neglected for a long time. You know, when you're looking through your stash and you keep seeing something over and over again, you're like, I'm going to use that eventually. Like I know someday I'm going to find a project or a layout or something that I'm making that this is going to be perfect for. So today was that day for these doilies. So I was really happy about it actually, because I love using my stash. I love being able to use what I buy, use what I'm given. And I don't know if there's anything like that in your stash that you just keep saying, and you're like, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use that one day. I don't know when. Let me know if there's anything like that in your particular stash, and then I'm encouraging you to use it. Use it. I was going to say use it or lose it, but you're not going to lose it. It's just going to stay in your stash. So all these things are just little odds and ends from my stash. Bits of scrap paper, some postage stamps, some sentiments, some die cuts from like former stash building, also things that have been sent to me by friends and kind people, subscribers, in random acts of kindness. So it was really fun to challenge myself to try to find like spring items in my stash, because I don't have anything that's like spring specific. It's just stuff that has accumulated through the years, and it turns out I have more spring themed stuff than I thought, which was really surprising and really fun, and I'm glad that I'm able to use it. And because I just love using what I get. it just makes sense. Like if you bought it, you should use it. I hope that encourages somebody to use up their stash. Now the welcome to our porch little piece of ephemera that's on the left hand side of the page. I really like the placement there, but then now it kind of feels not balanced because we have that big thank you herb card at the top. So I thought it would be good to kind of break up the black at the top of the page. So I'm pulling down the thank you herb card to the bottom, and I feel like it feels like it might it just makes sense in my head, and it might not look right to you, but it looks right to me. And it just I always get questions about like layering and like how do you go about placing stuff on your layout, and it just makes sense in my head. And maybe it doesn't, maybe it like hurts somebody's eyes and like somebody else's other eyes and other heads, but it just for me it works. So I like to I emphasize a lot of like balance and a little bit of symmetry. So I felt like that thank you herb card just definitely had to move down a little bit, and it ended up working out. And plus I love frames, so I love that the frame now is at the top. And then I'm going back and forth between these like springy sandals and this rain boot with flowers in it. So I'm just kind of like going to go back and forth. But in the end, I think either one works. And it really just depends on, what you want to do. And it just reminded me, it's been a while since I've got philosophical whilst I was crafting. But I was just thinking, like, if there's a decision to be made in your life, and I'm talking about me, if there's a decision to be made in my life, I try not to stress too much about it, because either way it's gonna work, either way it's gonna be beautiful. So that back and forth between the spring sandal and the rain boot with the bouquet inside of it, like flowers bouquet inside of rain boots. Who thinks of this stuff? But anyway, either way, either one would have worked. And sometimes that's the same thing. That applies to decision making as well. Sorry, don't mind me. Just keep watching. Please don't go away. Hope I didn't scare you. Now it's time to glue everything down, and I'm going to use a combination of Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear Glue, which is a liquid adhesive that I highly recommend. I liken it to the Tombow liquid adhesive. It's just a really good glue. And I'm also using a glue stick. So just adding, I'm trying not to, you'll see it more in this on the left page. I'm going to really try not to lift or shift. I rhymed. Lift or shift anything from place. And I'm just going to kind of squeeze little drops behind all the elements, because I really like the placement and I want to try to not move anything. And so you'll see me, I'm just going to try to like squeeze stuff, squeeze little drops behind each element without actually picking them up off of the page. So when I'm doing this part, for some reason, I don't know if it's the nozzle or the viscosity of the liquid, it just reminded me of dyeing my hair with like, those like do-it-yourself kits from like L'Oreal. It just reminded me of that. It's been a long time since I've dyed my hair because of, lockdown and stuff. Usually I do it myself because I have a lot of grays, but yeah, it's just been a while. Like, I've cut my own hair too. Let me know what you've done to your hair, if anything, during lockdown, or maybe where you are in your corner of the world. Maybe things are open and you're allowed to go to the hairdresser. But yeah, my hair is a disaster right now. I think my roots are real bad. Like, you should have seen how I cut my hair the other day. I just kind of pulled it forward over my shoulders and just cut a straight line with my craft scissors, which you probably see there in the corner, just because I don't have any other sharp scissors. So what are you to do? Anyway, the joys of lockdown. So yeah, just gluing things down, trying not to shift them around too much, trying not to stir things up. That is very much like my whole life. So to make my layout feel very springy, I wanted to add some flowers throughout the layout. So these flowers that you'll see in just a bit, I die cut a bunch of them from my stash, from a tonic die set. It's definitely discontinued, but it was just a nice series of like layered flowers, and I love them so much. So I cut like pretty much all of my scrappy white paper from this die, because it's just the perfect flower. And then you can layer them up too, like you start off with the bigger petals and then kind of work your way down. But I just love the look of them. It just really makes it feel like a spring dance, a spring vibe for sure. And so I'm just gluing them throughout, and then I'm going to put little itty bitty colorful pearls, self-adhesive pearls onto the center, and that I think might be the last thing that I do. And I'm also going to be using my tweezers, because I really want to get better about being a little bit more like less of a caveman, less of a brute when it comes to crafting. And I really feel like tweezers help me feel fancy. And so I'm going to be using my tweezers, or attempting to use my tweezers, to put my pearls onto the centers of the flowers. I would love to get to know you better and hear from you. I'm curious about what kind of crafter you are. Like, are you more on the fancy side? Like, are you graceful and kind of like on the clean side? Or are you like a messy crafter? Are you a dangerous crafter? Are you a klutzy crafter? I've worked with a lot of crafters. And it's just funny because everyone kind of has like their own style. Like, I've been around so people that would like throw their scissors after they use them, like they would just kind of throw them across the desk, and that always kind of scared me. But then I've also worked with crafters, and me myself, I'm also super klutzy. Like, you just drop everything. And you know, either way is fine. I don't know, I just wonder if you're like super messy and there's like paint splatters all over and you're trying to figure out where this paint came from. Yeah, let me know. I would love to know, what's your crafting style? What are you like when you're crafting? I wanted to add just a little spot of texture, a little texture whisper. So I'm gonna add a little bit of gold twine to this itty bitty, it's supposed to be like a tea bag wrapper thing, like the tea bag paper at the end of the string. So I'm just adding a little bit of twine and threading that through. Nothing like too crazy. And that's the end of the layout. Thank you so much for spending this time with me out of your day. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you are inspired by this spring themed layout, and that you also like I hope it inspires you to make some spring stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.